my little makeshift studio, but I didn't make it, man. I didn't make it.
I hear you. I hear you, man. Sometimes when you doing the independent grind, you're not always where it's convenient.
Exactly.
So, man, I hear you and I receive it, and I'm humbled that you still here to speak to me today, brother. So it don't even matter. Yeah. How you been, Michael?
Man, I've been great, man. How you been?
I've been great, all things considered, with COVID and all the madness and all the melee of the people putting negative energy in the air, whether they want to believe it or not. But
Right.
I've been good, man. Um, man, I've definitely. So I always try to get people on Avenue Chat that I admire and that I look at as an example of what it looks like to be just a really good, genuine person. And you most definitely one of them people, man. I know I've watched your journey from doing poetry from Nacogdoches to all the way in Dallas, sometimes in Tyler for a good minute, man. And I'm just been watching your journey. I'm just really proud of you. And I oftentimes look at you as kind of like a third party mentor. So I have this thing where I have first party mentors and third party mentors. Third party mentors are people that I just don't have conversations with all the time, but I definitely watch their journey through social media. And I'm like, okay, let me backtrack and see what steps he took to get that done. I'm gonna try to see if I can kind of lay down the footprint of what I got going on so that I can advance off of his grind. And he laid that example. So you definitely one of them people that have laid an example for me to go ahead and pursue my nonprofit and pursue the public speaking business that I got going on right now. So man, I'm just very excited to speak to you today.
Man, it's an honor to be on your show, man. I love what you're doing with Avenue Speaks, man, Avenue Chat. I've been looking at some of the guests that you've had on the show, man. You've had a phenomenal track record of very important people. So I'm honored to be someone you consider to be, guest worthy. So I really appreciate that.
Oh man, listen, man, it's been a lot of fun doing Avenue Chats and underneath Avenue Speak, man. I started it because in the midst of COVID, like I had like 4 public speaking gigs booked um before COVID started, and then COVID came and wiped all of my public speaking events out.
Too.
So yeah, so I had to have something that would continue to have a presence. And so it just made a whole lot of sense to do this where I would have peer-to-peer conversations with people discussing life, important things, non-important things. Now, because I added the Avenue Equality, which I would love to get you on an Avenue Equality after we do this Avenue Chat where we discuss the dynamics, whether they be social, spiritual, whatever of the racial dynamics that are going on in the world. I just think that's very important to continue that conversation even after the storm has died down where it's calm. Because I think that if we continue to advocate for unity in that way, then it will be less likely to run across so much of a hurdle whenever the hurdle comes again, because the hurdle is going to come again, and the hurdles always come across. We just got to keep them down and keep them dormant, keep them a little bit less aggressive when they hit.
Right.
And then we just, preparation is key for that. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Michael Guinn, what you got going on now in COVID? What does COVID look like for your poetry? Because I know in Dallas, is it Dallas you work as a social worker?
Right. I in Dallas, I work at for a company called City Square, and I work as a permanent supportive housing coach. I work with youth who have
Hmm.
got a foster care, but who also suffer from a mental disability. They have to be have a documented mental health disability, and we help find them a place to stay. We pay their rent, help them with
Hmm.
school, just give them a little guidance. So I work with those youth who have aged out of foster care. So that's what I do, and I've managed to mix a little bit of what I do with the poetry and public speaking with my job, because a lot of the people there were people who worked at CPS where I used to work before I took this job, and so they
Sure.
already know what my passion is, and they utilize that, and I'm able to have a job, work a job where I'm able to, you know, have the flexibility to do a lot of different things, and I'm happy.
Right, right. Which is so very important to in all those endeavors that you do when you're mixing and adding things to it to stay happy and content. I have this thing in about the word happy. Let me know what you think about this thing or my opinion on the word happy. I don't even like using the word happy because happy for me is kind of just predicated off of you having to wait for something to happen or somebody to happen to you.
Right.
Instead, just replacing the word happy with joyful or joyous is something that I advocate for. And that's one of the things that I talk about in my public speaking. But then I also give the identification that if you agree, cool. If you disagree, cool. I'm only here to give you potential application.
Right. I agree wholeheartedly, man. That's a unique perspective. I think I might have to adopt that, my brother. I think I like that right there. I might have to start following you around a bit more. I think you got some good stuff going on.
That's what's up, man. That's humbling is I don't know what for you to say. Because I know you've been public speaking for a little minute, right?
Yeah, but as the world changes, public speaking, poetry, uh,
Mm-hmm.
drum circles, everything that you do has to
Sure.
evolve with the world to be able to continue to connect to the next generation and the next and the next. And you have to go with like for example, COVID changed.
Right.
We couldn't do any live appearances, so we had to figure out a way to stay in their earshot, so to speak, so they can see that we're still here. So
Right.
I took to I think I did what I did cases I put out an anthology requests for people to write about how they feel about being at home and everything else. So they put
Mm-hmm.
together an anthology, and that thing went all over the world. I've got submissions from Ireland, UK, Cyprus, Bangladesh, Russia,
Mm-hmm.
Sweden. I mean, so we found a way. You would
Mm-hmm.
have chat and me with the anthology. We found a way to let people know that we're still passionate about connecting people. And
Right.
so when I hear you say some of the wonderful things you say, it's the light goes off. There's always another way to think about how you can connect people in a way that they understand and grab a hold of it, and they
Mm-hmm.
want to continue to see you as a person of reason and knowledge. And so, yeah, I wouldn't blow smoke. I really do try to evolve, man. So I really appreciate what you're doing.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. So when is the last poetry event that you did in person?
The last poetry event I did, now I went to Palestine 2 weeks ago, and we
Okay.
did a mask-friendly open mic in Palestine at a place called Daiquiri King.
Mm-hmm.
And a published poet by the name of B Love, Brianna Coleman came out, and Lula Carr came
Oh,
out.
she on here right now. Beloved.
Yeah, she came and did her thing.
Huh.
Got a brand new book out. So, but she's from Athens. So I drove from Irving, Lula
Mm-hmm.
drove from Northwestern Hills, B
Mm-hmm.
Love drove from Athens. We all conversed on Palestine and
Mm-hmm.
supported a black-owned business. One,
Yeah.
and two, we introduced the art of poetry and spoken word in open mic setting to a new
Mm-hmm.
crowd. Uh,
For sure.
I had a venue that was going on, but obviously they have to think about, what CDC regulations are and how
Yeah.
cost effective it is to keep their doors open. So we had to put that on hold. So
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done anything. I'm set to do something there in Palestine next Friday, but you never know, man. With things the way they are, East Texas is a little less, Corona, whatever it is. That we don't have as much Corona in East Texas as we do here in Dallas Fort Worth area. So East Texas is
Yeah.
an animal. You have a little bit of flexibility, but yeah. Last week I did something. Before that, it was months.
Mm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think before that, because before that you were doing poetry, slam poetry sessions in, I
Left.
know Lufkin, I know Lufkin. I think you were doing some in Longview and Palestine.
Now, actually, it was Lufkin, and then it was Tyler,
Okay.
and um, and then I did something at Jarvis Christian.
Hmm.
But I had a lot of stuff lined up. Uh,
Right.
Things kind of shut down. I haven't been back to the standpipe since March 6th. That was our last one there, and obviously when they open up their lobby, they're ready. I've been doing it there for 6 years, and again, trying to find a way to get folks in East Texas to understand that this spoken word, this art, whatever your passion is, we want you to know that there's a platform that's safe and positive that you can come and share. So I'm from Jacksonville, so even though I live here, I'm East Texas all the way, and I wanted to bring a little bit of what everybody else gets all over the country to my native East Texas, so we can have those platforms. You know what I'm talking about. You do a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
well, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my thing is, man, creativity will always leave the gateway for destroying every single barrier that you may have, which
exactly.
is, that's the mission slogan of my nonprofit, and just advocating for allowing people to explore those ways, because even if a person has identified a creative outlet, does not mean that they have a way to destroy those barriers. You got to actively pursue the application of that creative outlet. You
Exactly.
don't just write poetry and then expect to be healed from a mental situation or a mental thought pattern or a mental ailment or maybe even a spiritual barrier that you got going on right now. It just doesn't happen right away. It's a gateway for you to allow healing, but
Right.
you got to continue to use that application in order for you to continue to have the healing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly, man, and that's what I've tried to be consistent with, that approach to building platforms for the
Yeah.
last 2 years. I've started writing December 21st, 1997,
Hmm.
while working as a CPS investigator in Fort Worth.
Hmm.
Um, um, it took me 5 years to get on the stage because I didn't feel safe. I didn't know if what I had to say would be something that would connect to people. And then, of course, I discovered that, I wasn't alone in that. And then I connected to a bunch of people. Next thing we're doing poetry slams, traveling, competing nationally, internationally, and just, wanted to make sure that people here locally know that they have an opportunity to have the same kind of, uh, you know, uh, platform to share and heal and connect and
Hmm.
get support and support others. That's what I've tried to be consistent with for a long time now.
Hmm. Tell me a story about, or at least an example of how you have seen someone take what you've done or what you've given and either use it in a beneficial way or maybe even give it to somebody else.
You know what, years ago I did a creative writing workshop for a middle school in Arlington, and I'll take that back, in McKinney. Um,
Hmm.
and for 11 years, even I think just before COVID came on, I had already completed my 12th year at McKinney Middle School, where I do poetry slams for all the district and all this stuff. But there was a student there, and that student took my course. And then I think 2 years ago, that student graduated from college.
Hmm.
That student took theater. That student wrote a play and called me up and said, "Mr. Guinn, I know you may not remember me, but 10 years ago, you did a workshop when I was in middle school, and I wrote a play, and I wrote you in the play. And I've never forgotten what you said. I never forgot what you did. I never forgot how creative you were on the spot and how you just drew everybody in. And I've held on to that. And because of that, I chose theater instead of business. And I wanted to have a chance to just let you know how much I appreciate you. And he invited me to be in his play. So that's an example of how you can connect to someone, and they hold on to that for years. Because years now. I mean, you got a kid,
Hmm.
13, 8th grade. You wouldn't
Yeah.
think that you make a difference. An older guy like me, but the energy and the creativity is
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
crosses barriers.
Yeah.
Creates it creates a platform where there's no Republican, there's no Democrat, there's no
Right.
gay, there's no straight. It's just one voice, and
Right.
that's what I've reveled in. I've reveled right in that little area, and I've been able to go and do things in places that I never thought I'd be able to. And so
Come on.
that would be an example of an opportunity where I've got a chance to have an impact on someone who did not forget me and reached
Come
out
on.
to me and brought me back in.
Come on. Brianna said that's influence and divine connection.
But go on then, girl.
Yeah, I'm saying, right? Yeah, man. One of the things I reference all the time, and it parallels what you're saying, and it parallels what Brianna's saying, is I'm real big on the word frequency, but the way I break frequency down is frequently doing something that infectiously touches another one's spirit, right? So when you talk about that, it's the habit or the action of, no matter what or no matter how you see someone being affected by the thing or the attempt that you put in positive or your attempt to be positive in this, because a lot of the time, like you said, you ain't gonna see the person benefit until X amount of years down the line,
Right.
or you may not ever see it at all, right?
That's right.
But you go ahead and you stand up every single morning and you truly believe in what you do because it is for the benefit, and you go off cuff of the belief that one day the world will see the good in what you have done, whether it's through you or whether it's through somebody giving it to somebody else. But you don't have to see the benefit. You just know that the benefit's gonna be there.
Exactly. Exactly. I concur.
Yeah, man. It's that frequency, that divine intervention, man. All that stuff is just really important for people to remember.
Are
You
we
know,
are we gonna be able to replay this somewhere so I can take some notes on all this wonderful stuff you putting down, brother? We
oh
need to be.
listen,
Is there a
oh
workshop?
listen, man. Listen, I'm gonna be able to download it to my laptop, and I'm gonna upload snippets. But man, I will also send you an email the whole entire conversation.
I just not for personal reasons. I just think this is something that should be replayed again so that people can get these little snippets of
Hmm.
wisdom and knowledge that's coming out. But I mean,
Saying,
we should be interviewing you right now.
no, man, nah, brother, it ain't like that.
It's you're doing a beautiful job, man. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it, and I'm honored.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I do. So what's next for you, Michael Guinn?
Well, I'm still doing a lot of conferences on Zoom, and you know what's amazing, Casey, is that I've never stopped. COVID has not stopped anything.
Hmm.
I had a conference that I booked in Kentucky for June 20th. Obviously, I couldn't make an in-person appearance. That's $3,000. That
Yep.
you know, and I had so what happened was is that
Hmm.
these people wanted this conference to happen so bad they did a virtual conference, and they still gave me $2,000 to do a 45-minute workshop, and then they ordered
Yeah.
200 copies of my book. My point is,
Right.
if you have something of value that they think, or I'm sorry, that they know will impact and touch the kids, they work. It was an independent living conference for youth who are aging out of care in Kentucky, and so they wanted what they saw me do in Florida. They wanted that in Kentucky, and because of they did their own conference, they weren't going. They weren't going to pay all those thousands to go back to Florida. They were going to have their keynote and all that stuff. So it's been a lot of those kind of things. Kentucky, I
Hmm.
think Tuesday I've got the DFW Virtual Youth Enrichment Summit that's happening with Siobhan Banks Davis. I've got Alcindor. It's an Hispanic uh, first generation college uh,
Hmm.
organization. They work with Hispanic youth who are the first generation to ever go to college, and they heard me do a poem at an event and wanted me, and I've been doing conferences with them. So those things, even though we're now virtual, those opportunities are still there for me.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a lot of those things, man. So Tuesday I'm doing that. Um, also I'm filming a movie, man. I'm in a movie, bro.
Yeah.
I'm playing a pastor in a movie called God's Tired with Michael Green, and we start filming next Friday. Um, I've got another anthology of poetry coming out called Just Let Us Breathe, and this one is about obviously how people feel about the Black Lives Matter movement, how they feel about police, defunding police and all that stuff. Which
Hmm.
is not a very political person, but the same reason I put a call out for people to talk about COVID-19. The same reason I put this out to talk about Black Lives Matter, because people need a way to vent that's positive and safe. You know,
Right.
so that's exactly what I've been trying to do, and I continue to try and do, and people continue to ask me to be a part of, even if it's virtual. So yeah, a lot of stuff happening, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly it. I know with COVID, I mean, just like this, it's like you got to find a way to move around, because if your intention and your drive is for the people, you got to keep going no matter what. So yeah, yeah, definitely. Because I know I've been doing some things on Zoom as well, and also just doing these and just trying to move around and continue to serve and continue to give people some 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 content that makes sense. But yeah, hey, so selfish question. You think I can get in on one of these conferences, man?
I think you can get. Well, you know what? When people ask me that, I ask them, do they have the things that the conference people would want? So
That is a logical question.
you're right, right. So no. I'm not talking about your talent. I'm talking about things like a brochure, a fee scale,
Yeah.
the one sheet, all the little things that they say to them says that you are polished, you're professional,
Hmm.
you're not going to embarrass us, you're not going to do anything that political to take away from the movement of what we're trying to do for whatever. So
Yeah.
people get mad at me sometimes when I let them know that, listen, I don't know if I just heard you curse at the church 2 weeks ago. If you didn't have enough presence of mind to know that you can't cuss in church, then how can I
Hmm.
do to handle yourself like a professional for a paid opportunity? And then there's those
Oh
people
yeah.
that have they don't have the accounting stuff. They don't have the invoices. They don't understand that you got to wait a couple of weeks or a couple of months. So they don't understand that. So it's kind of hard to put everybody on when they don't even have. They think it's like an open mic. You show up, I do a poem with my money. No,
Hmm.
you have to.
Yeah.
They have this thing called services rendered. They have to be able to say, okay, the service is completed. So in that regard, I'm going off on a tangent. I know you have that, and if you send me whatever you got, the bio, all that stuff, then I don't mind because I can't do everything.
Hmm.
I can't do it. I don't fit every situation. So I'm always finding somebody that, hey, they need a poet. They need someone who does music. Hey, they need someone who speaks about herbal options. I would never try to be someone to speak about something that I don't know about. So
Right.
I'm always
Right.
to, refer someone, but I want to make sure
Hmm.
that I refer has the one has the skills to put it off, and two, they understand that you're not going to get paid that day. You're going to have to wait, send an invoice, and I'm willing to coach. So yeah, I would love to be able to refer you, my brother. I sure would. Yeah. So yes, we'll talk after the show. Whatever you need,
Oh yeah.
send me some stuff, man. I'll send it out. 'Cause trust me, yeah, I've never in my life done a lot of virtual stuff, but I've never had someone pay me $2,000 for a 45-minute Zoom and
Right.
pay for my book and blow me up and do this. I've never had that. But that again, sometimes it's those little confirmations
Hmm.
say that Michael, Casey, you guys have something that people need to see, and
Hmm.
even if it's just 30 minutes on a virtual, summit, I want my kids to be exposed to what I know is making a difference in the lives of others. So yeah, I definitely would love to send in your information, my brother. I'm just saying, especially,
Hmm. I got it, man.
especially when this is all over, man. Man, East Texas is crazy, man. I've got some stuff. I had a lot of things going on in East Texas before this, just like you. I
Hmm.
everything. It's still they're still talking about it, but they want
Yeah. Yeah.
they,
Yeah.
they don't even want to do a virtual. They
Right.
don't even want to do that. They want to hold out to October and still go.
Right.
They're hoping that they can get your live body in front of their bodies.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah.
so I'm just letting you know that there are some still opportunities there. If they don't cancel, I would love to be able to do something with you. Man, that'd be so powerful. It'd be so powerful, Casey.
Come on, man.
I,
Come on. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with it. Now we'll talk for sure.
yes, sir.
Right after this, I'll message you and
Okay,
I'll get whatever I need to get to you. We'll get
okay.
that done for
And if you
sure.
don't have it, we're gonna create it. How about that?
Come on, man.
But,
Come on.
but that's what I've done, Casey. Uh, for a lot of years, when someone didn't have it, I tried to create it. And here's the funny thing about that. Sometimes people are appreciative, sometimes they're not, but I have to keep on moving. The,
Yeah.
the best way for anybody to understand how important it is to be professional, to be appropriate, to be relevant, to be significant, and to be an impact is for you to use every opportunity when you get in front of people, use every opportunity when you talk, like I'm listening to you, to learn from that, not steal, learn. To be
Yes.
yourself. I'm gonna be me. I can't be you. All right. I
Hmm.
mean, I don't have enough rhythm to walk, let alone play drums. I'm just letting you know. But I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that someone who I consider an expert in that field. And why would I, do a YouTube video for 15 minutes and then try to book myself as a drummer? People do
Right.
that stuff. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, they do.
There's a guy.
Yeah, they do.
Got
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
if you'll pay for his travel, his time, and a hotel room, I'm pretty sure, I'm not an agent, I'm pretty sure that he'll come up and do this, and he will be fantastic. You know,
Right.
so yeah, I mean, yeah, whatever it takes, man, for us to get more opportunities to show our talent. They know we talented.
Oh yeah.
Want to be able to trust us in front of
Oh
them,
yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. So Michael, man, let me tell you, I got to tell you a story real quick. Can I do that?
Yeah,
So here's my story, right? So one day I walked into a coffee shop in Lufkin, Texas, right?
yeah,
And I'm sitting down, and there's a poetry slam going on. In fact, that's the exact intention. Then I go, right?
right.
And this guy, before the poetry contest, he tells everybody to write down a word and put it, I don't remember, he said put it in the hat, or I don't remember how he collected all the words. And he said that by the end of the poetry night, I will have a poem with every single word incorporated in this poem. And I've not only seen this guy do this one time, I've probably seen this guy do this about 3 or 4 times, right? And every single time I've seen him do this, he is on beat, on rhythm, like he is creative whenever he comes up ways to kind of reverse engineer the storyline, or maybe even just not, because I'm sure there's so many methods to that madness that he practices during the season of creating this ending of this journey in that short period of time, right? And so me identifying and knowing that there are multiple seasons in one season, or multiple chapters in one season, and knowing that there's a purpose for every chapter in one season, I have so much admiration for the task that was delegated and done by this particular guy, man. He stood up at the end of the 3 hour or however long the poetry slam was, and just got up with confidence, with posturing hand gestures, inviting body language, just spat off. And with the first word, and what I noticed is the first word that he said was always the most powerful word in the whole entire list. He would just always start with the first word. If it didn't start with the first word was the most powerful word that was collected in that sentence. And he would just go off, and always without a beat, was always just so very captivating and so very successful in that delegated task. Michael Guinn, I just got to give you a round of applause for even coming up with that and doing that, man.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you very much. For my next trick, I'm kidding, man.
Come on, yeah. What's your next trick, brother?
No, I don't. You know what?
Because when you said and you spoke of, you're talking about. Listen, I cannot sit here and play drums like you do, but I can't stand there in front of an audience and come up with a poem like that with a bunch of words that people give me. I think that's magnificent, brother.
Man, I appreciate that, but the same kudos goes to you for what you do and how engaging and how creative and how inviting you are to whenever you're in that realm. I've watched you, and I've watched some videos and I've seen you work with no matter what they or who they are. You and I both know it's a zone. It's a moment you own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's about reading the room. It's about
Yeah.
when you have their attention and then reveling in that moment. It's a moment, in that powerful moment, no matter. And here's the deal, you and I both know this. If you're able to find a way to connect people, words, drums, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what that does is that you never know who's in the room.
Mm-hmm.
The son of an attorney or the daughter of a high school principal. It could be
Yes.
cousin of the mayor. You never, and they're gonna go back and they're gonna talk about that experience, and that becomes your billboard, your
Yes.
calling card, that word of mouth. And so I love being able to do that. And I don't know how I don't know. I don't even know where it began. I just know that I it's just something that I do, man. I don't even, I don't practice it. It just, one day I just said, let me just take these, trying to challenge myself. And
Yeah.
Casey, the real reason I started doing that is when I was hosting open mics, people used to come up and ask me, Mike, what kind of poem do I do? And I was like,
Right.
I don't know, man. I don't know with this crowd. I'm young in this, so I wouldn't read. All I would say is, no profanity if you can avoid it, or if it needs to be well placed. You got grandma over there. You got look like might be a pastor over here. Got a little kid here. Just think about that. But then what I started doing was I started taking words from the audience to help the poets. So if somebody if I had 50% of the words I got was God, grace, blessings, you know, in his name. Then you need to stick with something that might be spiritual. That's a spiritual audience. So
Come on.
that's what I started doing, is a way of helping the poets be able to, I had this little poem about sex. I need to put that back. I need to go back over here and put out this poem. And then those poets, if they happen to have books or CDs, will have a better chance of selling something that night, especially if they come and it's a free open mic and they drove a long way. So because I've been that poet where I've driven for 100 miles or something, and sometimes the venue is open, sometimes it's not. So you have to find a way to connect to the audience where they can remember you, especially when you don't have a lot of time. So that's where that came from. It was a way to try and help the audience, help the judges connect to what the audience may be vibing on. You know what I'm saying? It's worked.
Yeah. There's a lot of reverse engineering in that process. Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's a nice. And I think a lot of times people are taught through conditioning to think only forward, but if you're able to, and if you're taught to think forward and backwards from where you want to be or where you're trying to go and trying to map out steps to get there, I think it's that you're so much more successful in trying to get to where you want to go than just trying to think forward.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I like that.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Again, you and I both know, man, you have to find a way to endear yourself to an audience so that the main thing is that they have a good time and
Man.
they feel safe.
Yeah.
And if they feel safe, they'll come back, or they'll book, or they'll buy something, or they'll hire you. And that's what it's been. Not everybody appreciates that. They don't know what we're doing as hosts. They don't know what we're doing as workshop facilitators. They don't know what we're doing as instructors. But we know what we're doing, and if they'll just trust us to create a moment where we all can walk in, then they grow from that, and the audience has a great time. That's what it's all about for me. That's what I spent. I haven't always been successful at it. It's a lot of stuff you have to juggle when you're the guy and you're passionate and you have a vision, and everybody's gonna be, I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've done more good than I have harm. And right now I'm at this place, which I wished I was at when I was 30 something. I'm at this place where people seem to see this Mike Guinn guy is okay, and that we can trust him, and he everything's gonna be okay. And me being on your show is another testament of that. You know what I'm saying? That you got me on your show, and it's something you saw, and I appreciate it. So
oh man. No, I liked your response when I called you, and after I explained, you were like, "You got me. Don't even worry about it." Yeah. So that was really cool, man. I know sometimes the explanation gets lost in translation whenever I'm trying to convey what the purpose of the show is.
Right.
But sometimes people just don't get it. I don't know. Sometimes it's meant for that person. Sometimes it's just not meant for that person. But like you said, you just got to roll. You just got to keep going.
Yes, sir. AvenueChat, man. I mean, we're chatting. We're talking. It's about being real. And to be honest, we're doing the same thing we would do if we were in front of an audience. We're just ourselves.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
There's no difference.
There ain't no difference, man.
There's no difference. That's why I tell people, like, dude, it's just a conversation.
Right.
That truly is all it is. And what's real cool about it is now, where you would have to drive to me, or I would have to drive to you, or we would have to drive somewhere and meet in the middle. Now you are where you are, and now I am where I am in Tyler, and we can literally just have this conversation.
Right.
And the cool thing of the added benefit of it is we get to look back and reflect because it's recorded. So I enjoy that I enjoy that portion of it.
You never know who's gonna see this, and they're going to listen to two intelligent African American men.
Yes.
Who did not say one cuss word.
Right.
Connected, who were able to go through our memories of how we met and recapture that space and time and do so in a way that we both knew exactly what we were saying and exactly what the so you never know who's gonna see that and when this is all over, They're probably gonna want us to be. They're gonna want to see this word thing. They're gonna want to see this drum thing. They want to see. You never know. And so I try to tell my students, and I try to tell other poets, you just never know who's watching. You never know who's inspired. You don't know. It could be one simple phrase, that inspires them, and they'll remember it. They'll remember when all this is said and done. They'll remember, and they won't be able to wait to get us in front of an audience to do what we love. And what we're loving right now is connecting to each other and reaching out to each other, artistically and in brotherly love, because sorry about that. I'm in Irving, man.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good.
I don't want no problem now.
You're good, man. Yeah. Irving's not like that.
Right. It's not till it is.
It's true. It's got its spots. It's got its locations.
Yes, sir.
But yeah. I lived in Irving for about a year and a half when I went to school for music production over there. So yeah.
Where you school at?
Las Colinas.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to school at MediaTek Institute. I call it MediaTek Institution, home of the musically insane.
I think my son just graduated from MediaTek last year.
Okay. It's Max Media Studios now is where it's at, right?
I think it is, yes.
Yep.
He graduated with his, that's what he does. He does music. He's a music church. He's a church musician, the minister of music at his church, and he does a lot of recording and a lot of stuff, man. He has a studio in Jacksonville, actually, right now. I think he's going to move back up here, but he's in Jacksonville for now. So, yeah, man, you guys need to connect, man. I'm telling you, I'll take care of it.
Oh, come on, man.
I'll take care of it.
Ooh, yeah, man. I love it.
Have you ever done an album?
No, I haven't.
No,
I have. So how I got into music production is from Longview. I started DJing and moved off to Dallas and continued DJing in Dallas. This is when I used to DJ in rave clubs in Dallas, Texas, doing the things that people do when they're young and wasting time and dumb, just real reckless things, right? And I would do DJ at rave clubs and Lizard Lounge and things like that. And these clubs were places that were open. They would open at like, want to say 1 o'clock in the morning and be open till about 6 o'clock in the morning, just because it was promoting the culture of substance abuse usage or substance abuse, right? And man, I've come a long way.
Hey, I've always been told, man, you have to bump your head so you'll learn the lesson.
Yeah, man.
It's all, man. If from that we get this guy, then I'll take that journey.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There's nothing that I would do to take that journey back, man, because I wouldn't be exactly who I am today, and I wouldn't be doing what I am, and I probably wouldn't be sitting on my phone talking to you on Instagram right now. So, I don't regret a bit of it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, for sure. Where can people see your Zoom events and the things you got going on right now? How do we stay tapped in to Michael Guinn?
Well, obviously, my first and most important platform is Facebook. People can find me. Just Google Michael Guinn, Guinn. I've got like 8 pages on there, so I use all of them to promote. Obviously, IG. I got the East Texas spoken word page here, and then I've got my Michael Guinn, Jordan Michael G 99 page, and then of course you can go to MikeGuinn.biz. That's my website, which I need to update, but everything is there. And then of course you can see my agent Casey. He can connect y'all to everything.
Oh, for sure. So I know where all your social media is anyway, so yeah, I can do that. That's cool, man. Yeah. So is there anything else you want people to know before we get out of here?
I want them to know, man, that first of all, I love this show. I love this platform. I see nothing but success for it. I look forward to tuning in next time when someone else is a guest. Maybe Brianna, B-Love. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, come on. Yeah, plant that seed in the dirt. Come on, Brianna. I'm gonna be talking to her anyway when we get off this interview.
Bro. She's beautiful. Got a brand new book. She's she's a massage therapist. I think she has her own business. So she would, she's East Texas, man. So I want people to know that I support people. that I try to put people in the loop. And that I'm going to continue to do that until I'm no longer able to do that. So, guys, I just really appreciate y'all and keep, supporting each other. And, remember now, we all matter. Okay?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, hey guys, thank you for tuning in. Thanks, Michael Guinn, for being my guest. Thank you, Brianna, for being so intentional in the comments and blessing us with your responses. Thank you, everybody on Instagram that's watching on the other end of it. You guys tune in for the next Avenue Chat that we got coming up next week. We got two coming up next week in a series that we have called The Messy Bun Diaries, from the authors of The Messy Bun Diaries from Longview, Texas. Man, I'm really excited about those two. They are back to back. Like or follow me on IG. I'm trying to get my numbers up so that I can continue to reach more people. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful, intentional, prosperous day.
Thank you,
See
brother.
you later.
All right. Take care.
All right, come on. Let's see if this works.